So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Man, let me tell y'all what happened after yesterday's video, bro. You know the video about the dude that was drinking the blood and injecting himself with blood and then walking around the streets looking for unlocked doors, and he felt like if it was an unlocked door, it was an invitation, so he walked in and just started killing people. As soon as, and I say this to y'all every day, right? Every day. I be like, yo, lock your doors, lock your windows, right? As soon as I walk out my man cave, out my room here, and head upstairs, I pass by the front door. What do you think I find? What do you think I find? The door was unlocked. Top and bottom. Top and bottom. I lock the door, I come upstairs, family meeting situation right there. And I commenced to telling them the story of the video that I had just reacted to. When I got done, their eyes were like this big. I said, yeah, so when you take the dogs out, use the bathroom, and you come back inside, double check and make sure the door is locked. Like, so I gotta hold myself and my family accountable too. It ain't just y'all that I be trying to keep on track. It's us too. So full transparency moment right there, bro. It was crazy. But today's video, strange and scary mysteries of the month. Now this comes from October 2020, and we all know what type of a year 2020 was, right? We all know that. So we're gonna check this video out, man. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Join the fam. Once you join the fam, man, join us real quick. Moment of silence for these haters out there. All right? Moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Now run the lights up. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Let's go.
This episode of Every Town is being sponsored by our good friends over at the Deadbolt Mystery Society, who have an awesome monthly subscription box service that, if you guys are fans of strange and scary mysteries of the month, October 2020. Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month is a compilation of the weird, disturbing, and downright baffling stories currently happening in our world. From UFOs to serial killers, ancient sites, mysterious creatures, and even ghosts. These are the strange and scary mysteries of the month for October 2020. Number 5. Circle of Hope Girls Ranch. Every parent with a teenager knows how hard it can be to deal with them sometimes. So much so that in certain cases, they may even seek help from outside professionals and institutions that can offer assistance. One such place of this kind is named Circle of Hope Girls Ranch, located in the Midwest. But what if instead of offering help, the teens that attended there are actually being severely harmed? Circle of Hope was an all-girls boarding school near Humansville, Missouri, owned and operated by 71-year-old Boyd Householder, together with his wife, 55-year-old Stephanie, and their family. An archived version of their website says that they opened the ranch in 2006 to help girls who had made poor decisions in life, offering care to those who wouldn't accept it from their parents or simply just didn't receive it. It was their mission to help them become God-loving and parent-honoring young people.
See, places like this always scared me, bro. When you hear people threaten to send their kids off to boarding school or stuff like that, you don't know what's really going on. So they could go there, something harmful happen, then kids grow more resentment towards their parents, and it can really, like, places like this always made me nervous, and it's probably finna be for this type of reason right here.
It was their mission to help them become God-loving and parent-honoring young people. And they also made note that the facility primarily used the Bible to teach and reform their clients. However, Circle of Hope was not a regulated rehabilitation center, and because of this, to say the least, they didn't abide by any governed standards. Thus, Mr. Householder was free to implement any kind of treatment he saw fit in reforming his young pupils. In a controversial expose, Amanda Householder, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Householder, revealed how she and the girls suffered harsh and degrading treatment methods doled out at the ranch. For instance, they would be made to stand facing the wall for hours at a time if they were disobedient. They were also made to walk around quacking like ducks as another form of punishment. Violence was encouraged within the camp. In an interview, Joseph Askins, a close friend of the householders, said that during his visit at the ranch, he witnessed Boyd smacking a girl in the mouth, forcing one of them to chug water, and making another girl eat her own vomit. He also heard—
See, this is what I mean. You don't even know these people and you trusting them with your most prized possession, your children. No matter what. You know what I'm saying? They're still ours. They didn't ask to be here. I don't care how old they get. You know what I'm saying? Until they're grown. I mean, not how old they get, but they're ours. So we can't just push our problems off on somebody else and expect them to do the job that we, you know what I mean, signed up to do when we decided to have children. So it's like, and then you hear this going, man, but the parents are the ultimate to blame. We would be the ultimate person to blame, bro. Like, if I hear my kid is being forced to eat his own vomit, so help you God. So help you.
Heard the man ordering the teens to assault each other, saying, "Knock her out, I mean it," which was recorded on audio. In September of 2020, two former residents of Circle of Hope filed civil lawsuits against the administrators for physical and sexual abuse. One of the women, who wanted to remain anonymous, claimed that she had been restrained for more than an hour before Boyd's German Shepherd attacked her sometime between 2014 and 2015. She was also forced to work outside in freezing temperatures, wearing nothing but a dress slip. The woman, who was just 16 years old at the time, also said that Boyd's son had sexually assaulted and raped her repeatedly. Meanwhile, the other Jane Doe claimed that Mr. Householder had also sexually abused her over a period of 6 months back in 2015. The school has since been shut down months after the allegations of abuse and violence came out. Daughter Amanda made a TikTok account where in the bio was the description, "My parents own an abusive boarding school for girls. This is my page exposing it." In August, all 25 girls living there were rescued by Cedar County authorities, but Mr. Householder remains free since there are only lawsuits pending and no current criminal charges. Number 4.
How? Make that make sense. How is he still free? Lawsuits pending. Your own daughter is exposing you. He's still free? Like, I don't get it. I swear, I don't get it. Somebody make me get it. Help me get it. I don't get it.
Or Carla Walker. The Wrigley Bowl parking lot in Fort Worth, Texas, is a place where young people, like Carla Walker, like to gather and hang out. And on the night of February 17, 1974, 17-year-old Carla and her boyfriend Rodney McCoy were doing just that. McCoy played quarterback for the Western Hills High School, the same school that Carla went to and was a cheerleader at. The two were spending a romantic post-Valentine's date together when all of a sudden a man showed up and out of nowhere pointed a gun at the young man. He threatened to kill him before hitting him over the head, leaving him unconscious. When Rodney woke up, the young girl was gone and blood was gushing from his head. A search immediately ensued, but no sort of evidence was discovered pointing to where Carla was taken or who took her. Then 3 days after the disappearance, Carla's body was found, left in a ditch near Lake Benbrook in Tarrant County, Texas. During the initial investigation, detectives believed that the victim had been brutally beaten, raped, and tortured alive for 2 days after she was abducted. Medical examiners also found traces of morphine which had been injected into her, and the cause of her eventual death was determined to be strangulation. At the scene of the crime, the police were able to recover traces of semen on Carla's clothing and bra, and that evidence was then sent for analysis to a Fort Worth forensics lab. But forensics technology at that time was still limited, and they weren't able to connect it to any possible perpetrators. Meanwhile, authorities picked up several suspects, including a man named Glenn McCurley. He was identified to be a person of interest back in 1974 for owning a .22 Ruger rifle, the same weapon that matched a magazine found near the crime scene. The suspect, however, denied the accusation, saying that his gun was stolen around that time of the murder, and he simply opted to not report it. He also told investigators that he was working overtime as a truck driver during the time that the crime was committed. With his alibis checking out, plus the apparent lack of evidence, detectives decided not to pursue McCurley again. So, with no further leads to work on, the Carla Walker rape-murder case slowly went cold. For 46 years, her family was left devastated by her untimely death, and the Fort Worth police frustrated that they couldn't find the individual responsible for the heinous crime. Then in March of 2019, Walker's case gained renewed interest after detectives discovered a letter related to the murder. While this new lead didn't result in a direct arrest, authorities opted to forward the old DNA evidence to a private criminal forensic entity with the hopes that they could shed new light on the mystery. GED Match, a company that specializes in the science of forensic genealogy, hit a DNA profile match on McCurley.
For the same guy. The same guy. I know he thought he got away with it.
Fortunately, this information couldn't be admitted into court as evidence, and so they turned to another company called Othram to finally seal the deal. On July 7, 2020, operatives procured new DNA samples from the suspect by combing through his trash. 2 months later, it was discovered that an item containing DNA material matched exactly to the male DNA profile found earlier on Walker's clothing. On September 10th of this year, police once again spoke to McCurley, who was now 77 years old, about his alleged involvement in the crime. The man yet again denied the allegations using the same old alibi. When formally asked for DNA samples, he complied. They were then taken to Othram for analysis, and 6 days later, it was confirmed that the swabs matched those on the victim's bra. Authorities immediately arrested the suspect, who was now being detained in the Tarrant County Jail with a bond set at $100,000. And after 46 years, it appears Carla's case has finally been solved. Number 3. Lawyer throws wife overboard. 62-year-old Lonnie Contes was a prominent lawyer formerly practicing in Irvine, California. Back in 2006, he and his third wife, Mickey Kanisaki, decided to go on a beautiful Mediterranean cruise. The two were already divorced but had reconciled and were planning to get remarried at the time the trip was made. And so, on May 21st of that year, they flew to Spain and boarded a ship that was planning on cruising down the coast of Italy. Lonnie had specifically requested for them to be placed in a room with a balcony, and 4 days later, they found themselves walking along the streets of Messina, Italy, one of the planned cruise stops. They returned to the ship later that evening, and this would be the last time Kanisaki was ever seen alive again. On that night, Lonnie strangled his wife to death and then threw her lifeless body overboard. He notified ship authorities the morning after that his companion went missing and...
Are you serious, bro? And what people fail to realize is that those ships have cameras all around them. They tell us that like all the time when you're on a cruise, man. You know what I mean? But people still choose to do what they do on the balconies, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to what I was saying. There's cameras there. A lot of people don't register, or they don't be paying attention, or they be well into their drinks and having a good time, that they don't really listen to those announcements that happen in the beginning of the cruise sometimes. And yes, it's cameras there. So I hope they caught him, bro, because that's crazy. And then if you ever have, I've had a balcony room. So it's really dark at night on those cruises. So it's a good chance they could have missed it. I hope they had cameras though.
Told them that he believed she may have somehow fallen overboard after having too much to drink. When later asked by investigators, he told them that he woke up around 4:30 a.m. to find her gone from their cabin. On May 27th, the woman's body was discovered floating off the coast of Paola, Italy, and at the same time while Lonnie was on a plane headed back to California. Law enforcement, including the FBI, weren't sure as to what really happened, but they were skeptical of Lonnie's story and why he would leave the country so quickly rather than help look for his own wife. The Bureau kept their eyes on him, and in 2008, 2 years after the incident, he was investigated further when he was caught attempting to move over $1 million between various bank accounts, which he shared with the deceased. The suspicious financial activity prompted the U.S. Attorney's Office to take possession of the accounts and put them on hold. Through a rigorous investigation, the man was eventually arrested at his home in Safe Harbor, Florida, in February of 2013, where prosecutors accused Contes of plotting to kill his wife for financial gain. Aside from the $1 million bounty, the man would have also taken full ownership of a home they once both owned. Throughout the years since his apprehension, a lot of unnerving developments surfaced, including a statement from his fourth and now ex-wife, Amy Nguyen. She explained to authorities that her ex-husband had told her about his murder plan aboard that ship and how he pulled it off. Even while in custody, it was also revealed that Lonnie had attempted to hire people to kill Amy in order to prevent her from testifying during his murder trial. In the end,
he won't stop at nothing. At nothing. Even from behind bars, bro, he's trying to get somebody killed. Yo. And what's crazy about this, man, nobody thinks about this type of stuff getting on a cruise. You're there to have a good time, enjoy yourself. And this dude here was plotting on killing his wife. Again, how we say, be suspicious of people, bro. Even though everybody's friendly, still be suspicious of people, even on cruises.
Lonnie, who almost got away with the perfect crime, was recently convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole on September 18th, 2020.
Good.
Number 2, Suitcase Killer fights to overturn conviction. More than a decade since she was sentenced to life in prison on July 19, 2007, Melanie McGuire said in a recent interview that she was wrongfully convicted for the brutal murder of her ex-husband, Bill McGuire. Despite the evidence stacked up against her, she, along with her advocates, believed the real perpetrator is still out there. On May 5, 2004, a dark green Kenneth Cole suitcase was found bobbing in the waters of Chesapeake Bay. When it was pulled ashore, it was discovered that inside contained a pair of legs that had been cut from the knees down. A murder investigation was immediately launched, and 6 days later, a second suitcase of the same make and model was found, containing a person's head and torso. Meanwhile, the third and last suitcase was recovered on May 16th, and by then, the Virginia Beach police had released a composite sketch of the victim, later identified to be Bill McGuire. The body was discovered with fatal gunshot wounds, one to the head and a second to the chest. His wife of 5 years was then named as the primary suspect in the investigation. A heap of incriminating evidence was uncovered against the mother of 2. For instance, 2 days before the incident, she bought a .38 caliber handgun along with bullets which she said were used for target practice.
Yeah, who was the target though?
Evidently though, it was the same kind of ammunition found lodged in Bill's body. Toll records also showed that on May 3rd, the woman drove overnight around Delaware, which is the night that prosecutors say she was out tossing the suitcases containing her dead husband's remains from the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. It was reported that Melanie, a registered nurse, even attempted to have the record of toll charges made that night to be removed from her account history. Moreover, the luggage that contained the body parts happened to match a set that the wife had at their apartment in Woodbridge Township, New Jersey.
That's it right there. That's the nail in the coffin. Signed, sealed, delivered. You know what I mean? They got you on camera for the toll. They got you on camera buying ammunition. And the time and the suitcases. So, I mean, what else? What else? You've done.
Furthermore, the trash bags that were used to wrap Bill's remains before being placed in the suitcases were determined to come from the same roll of bags found at their home. On March 5th, 2007, 3 years after the crime, the trial for the woman, now known as the Suitcase Killer, began and details were revealed.
Oh yeah, anytime they give you a nickname, it's over for you, sweetheart. Anytime they give you a nickname, you are forever brandished with the Suitcase Killer. If they give you that before trial, you ain't making it out.
It was found out that the accused laced the victim's drink with sedative the night before the killing. The next day, she then took her kids to daycare and returned to find Bill still asleep. She used a pillow to muffle the gunshots and to prevent blood from splattering. After this, she dragged the victim's body into the shower and put plenty of ice over it to keep it from decomposing. Later on that day, she picked up her kids and took them to her parents' home in Barnegat. She returned to their apartment and drained the body of blood before chopping it up into various parts and then placing them in the Kenneth Cole suitcases.
Who is she? How does she know to do all this stuff? Put it on ice, muzzle the shot, drain the blood, then chop it up, then put it in. Like, who is she? And nobody tell me she used to be a butcher, because I'm still not buying it. Like, she got some a special set of skills that make her a nightmare for people like him.
On July 19th, Melanie was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. The 47-year-old is currently serving out her term at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women in Clinton, New Jersey. Recently, Melanie and her lawyers have begun steps which aim to get a new trial for her, where they believe they can get the conviction overturned. They say she is wrongfully incarcerated and that the killer is still somewhere out there. Number 1, the happy scientist. John Krampf, who goes by the name The Happy Scientist on YouTube, was known for his contribution in popularizing science and technology to kids and adults alike. After attending the University of Tennessee and taking up geology, he pursued his career by working at the Pink Palace Museum and Planetarium in Memphis as an educator. This newfound passion in teaching pushed him to quit his job at the museum, and he began his mobile science education program where he traveled around the U.S. for 7 years. This one-man show, which he called Mr. Electricity, was rather well received as it began to garner widespread media attention. Aside from these shows, he would also do private performances for patients in select hospitals. During his stint as a traveling educator for Florida Power and Light between 2000 and 2001, he was able to engage more than 100,000 young students from 200 public elementary schools around the state. In addition to his real-world educational shows, Krampf started creating and uploading videos on YouTube around 2006. Recently, however, the popular science educator has been charged with receiving and possessing a huge amount of child pornography, and the 64-year-old was indicted on September 16, 2020, and is currently detained inside the Washington County Jail.
Yo, I know people who know him. Not saying I know people. I'm saying people who knew him are probably saying, yo, this can't be true. Like, did you hear them list off everything that he was involved in and doing and heading up and leading and spearheading and teaching and gathering children to learn? You would have never guessed this dude I didn't. I was waiting for them to say he ended up getting killed by this dude such and such. For him to go this route, bro, you really can't trust anybody, not even your teachers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just like the whole rundown in the beginning, building this dude up for them to just ultimately drop us off the face of the earth right then. It's crazy.
His channel, which has recently been taken down by YouTube as of late September, was able to amass millions of views even though it only had about 8,000 subscribers. In connection to this, he also made the Happy Scientist website, where you could better organize his YouTube video materials, as well as offer a much deeper insight on several subjects. In a press briefing, Dixie State University police said that they found thousands upon thousands of pornographic images and videos that featured prepubescent children during their raid at Cramp's home in Kane County, Utah.
Thousands.
His arrest was part of a much larger operation conducted by the FBI's Child Exploitation Task Force, and they were able to seize over 20 external hard drives from him filled with lewd and sexual content.
Oh my God.
During the
Oh man. Make you want to homeschool your kids from now on, don't it? Make you want to homeschool them.
interrogation, the famed YouTuber admitted to downloading multiple files of child abuse material, the most recent of which was made in August of 2020. Judging by the sheer amount of stuff he had, investigators were led to believe that he had been doing this for a long time already. This disturbing activity came to light thanks to an entrapment operation made on Craigslist. There, an operative posing as a pedophile had been inviting anyone who was interested to spend time with a child that they knew. Cramp was apparently one of those who responded to the ad. This federal offense, should he be proven guilty, will land him up to 20 years in prison for knowingly receiving child pornography and another 20-year sentence for possession of such materials. So there, with a strange...
Yeah, now you could be a prison school teacher. That's what you can do. You ain't getting out, bro, and you shouldn't get out. Disgusting, bro. That right there. And imagine all the kids he's come across, all the children he's come across while teaching, posing as a teacher. Telling you, it makes you want to homeschool your children, man, because you don't know who you're sending your kids to day in and day out. Do you know when there's a new teacher or a substitute? My parents never did. We didn't know. Them people could have been, do you know who your teacher really is or what they do in their off time or spare time? No. Do you know what's going on when the lights cut out in the kids' classroom and they're supposedly supposed to be watching movies this week? Do you know? You don't know. My parents didn't. This is scary, bro. This is getting, oh man. I have to go take a shower after this one, bro. I gotta wash all this filth that I just heard off of me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Let me know what y'all thought of this, and stick around and stay tuned, man. Until the next reaction, I'm gone. Y'all be safe. Hey.